How much trash do you make in a day? In a week? In a year? Now imagine all of that trash combined with all of the waste made by large factories all dumped into the ocean. Pretty scary, right? Well, that's what would happen if the government didn't regulate ocean dumping. According to a 2020 article by the United States Environmental Protection Agency entitled Learn About Ocean Dumping, before 1972, communities around the world used the ocean for waste disposal, including the disposal of chemical and industrial waste, as well as radioactive waste. The federal government needs to be doing more to regulate ocean dumping. Today, I'll identify the problem with the current system of disposal, identify those responsible for the issue, and suggest a potential solution, and weigh the costs and benefits of implementing the solution. Now that I've outlined my argument, let's move on to discussing the issue at hand. Dumping waste into the ocean is a serious problem that has harmful effects for the environment. Dumping waste into the ocean is a serious issue that can impact the health of both individuals and the environment. According to an article written by Kevin Heaton, published in 2011, entitled The Effects of Ocean Dumping can cause the contamination of food sources, depleted oxygen levels, and can damage the life cycles of marine organisms. Thus, ocean dumping is extremely dangerous to the environment and people in general. According to an article published by the United States Department of Commerce in 2020 entitled Ocean Pollution, heavy metals and other contaminants can accumulate in seafood, making it harmful for humans to consume. Ocean pollution introduces contaminants into the ocean, which then accumulate in seafood and are then consumed by humans. These contaminants can have harmful effects on humans and can make people very sick. This issue not only affects humans, though, it also affects other marine organisms and biodiversity as a whole. In fact, according to an article published by the Safe Drinking Water Foundation in 2016 entitled Marine Dumping can destroy or degrade important habitats for aquatic species, can cause coastal erosion, which can impact the health and productivity of the marine environment. Now that I've discussed my issue, let's move on to the point of blame. For this issue, we'll be placing the structural blame on the federal government. The federal government is not placing strict enough restrictions on ocean dumping, and thus the problems associated with ocean pollution continue to occur. Now that I've discussed where we'll be placing blame, let's move on to a solution for this issue. My solution is that the American government needs to place a ban on ocean dumping. According to a 2020 article by the United States Environmental Protection Agency entitled Learn About Ocean Dumping, the Marine Protection, Research, and Sanctuaries Act declares that it is the policy of the United States to regulate the dumping of all materials which would adversely affect human health, welfare, or amenities, the marine environment, ecological systems, or economic potentialities. This act, created by the U.S. government, regulates waste dumping. However, it does not ban it entirely. The current system allows the government to issue ocean dumping permits. In order to appropriately combat the harmful effects of ocean dumping, the federal government needs to ban the practice of ocean dumping entirely, instead of merely issuing permits. By banning ocean dumping, the federal government would prevent toxic materials and harmful pollutants from entering the water systems, and thus they would protect the environment. The federal government could pass and implement this new policy by creating a new law that would place a ban on the practice of ocean dumping and make it a federal crime to do so. Now that I've presented a potential solution, let's go over the costs and benefits. It is, in fact, more expensive to dispose of waste in a more environmentally friendly manner. In fact, according to an article written by Michael Spector of the New York Times in 1993, because of the Ocean Dumping Act, New York City spent about $2 billion on giant plants that turn sludge into fertilizer. The city plans to spend at least $300 million a year over the next decade to dispose of its sludge in this way, and in others, many times more than it would cost to dump it into the ocean. However, a ban on ocean dumping would be more environmentally friendly because it would prevent corporations from dumping harmful materials and trash into the ocean. According to an article published by Marine Bio in 2019 entitled Ocean Pollution, ocean dumping has several detrimental effects, such as destroying habitats and ecosystems, as well as causing eutrophication. By placing a ban on ocean dumping, we can prevent these detrimental effects from ever occurring. Now that I've laid out my solution and its costs and benefits, let's move on to the conclusion. Based on the points I've made previously, it's my standpoint that the United States government should place a ban on ocean dumping. First, I defined my issue and discussed why the issue was important. Then I discussed the blame, in which the federal government should be held accountable for the structural blame. And finally, I discussed the potential solution as well as its costs and benefits. By reducing the amount of waste entering the ocean, the environment could greatly benefit. By placing a ban on the dumping of waste into the ocean, the federal government can prevent the loss of biodiversity and avoid the harmful effects of toxic waste in waterways.